Welcome back to Soulfire Tarot. We're exploring the energies moving through the collective each day with the archetypes from the Greek pantheon. We're bringing together this energy for ancient myth and modern intuition to meet together to promote healing and growth. So, if something here resonates with you, please go ahead and drop a like or a comment. Help this message to reach more people who could use it. And let's take a deep breath. Tune in with ourselves, with the universe. Let's see what Spirit has for us today. And so, once again, today I had two cards jump out while I was shuffling. I think it's interesting. We're getting these kind of wild mixes of energy. And so, what we have here really feels like some pretty big opposites, the Fool and the Hierophant, Dionysus and Tiresias. So, Dionysus, let's dive into these stories. Dionysus was the son of Zeus and a mortal, and he was actually born twice. So he was reborn. One time he was born as a mortal, as normal from his mother's womb. And then he was born another time from Zeus's thigh after he was put there. There was this whole situation with lightning. So he became, because of that second birthing, he became the god of wine. He was the god also of ecstasy, of theater, of transformation. He's really like this energy of the feminine embodiment within a masculine. And he wandered the world like a wandering Taoist, really, teaching about liberation through divine intoxication and thinking of divine intoxication as essentially pursuing a state of ecstasy that takes you out of your norms. And he shatters boundaries, and that's something we have in common with both of these cards today. Shattering boundaries between genders, between classes, between states of being, which is all about with Dionysus. It's like finding the sacred chaos that's at the heart of everything. And so the Fool is a holy beginner, right? This is someone who is just going to leap into experience with innocence, without fear, and embracing risk and trusting that the current of life is going to carry you toward a revelation, toward that hero's journey and all the way through. So this isn't like foolish folly, right? This is about surrender to the sacred unknown. So we see here with this card, Dionysus is the Fool. It's very powerful. It's about this emotional truth, embodied liberation, and letting life unmake you a little bit so that you can remember what's actually real, what actually matters most to you. And then here we have Tiresias as the Hierophant. Tiresias was the blind prophet of Thebes. And what's subversive in this card is that Tiresias was transformed in his myth into a woman for 7 years and then came back into his original male form. So that means he gained deep insight into both sides of lived experience, into both yin and yang. And then his blindness, so this idea of I can see nothing, actually became sight. So losing his physical vision gave him his inner knowing and his sight into the worlds beyond ordinary reality. So when we look at this Hierophant archetype, we're usually looking at like sacred teachings, initiations, traditions, like the normal way of things being. This is the way that divine wisdom is traditionally transmitted as a Hierophant energy. So here we see Tiresias as like wisdom born of lived experience and teaching not just by rules, though, which is more the usual Hierophant energy, but actually truth that you can kind of like feel in your bones. And so we see here this wholeness inside him, this gendered wholeness, really inside both, like breaking our binaries, finding our full spectrum of insight. And I'm thinking about that for, all of us today. And this like, where are you holding yourself in a false duality? Is there opportunity before I've even looked at the whole energy, but where can we listen to what our body knows, like connect with the temple inside of us and let go of false binaries or false dualities, or what we like to call the tyranny of the or, the idea that it's this or that. Well, maybe there's an and. Maybe you can almost always replace that or with an and if you're clever enough and determined enough. So with this energy for today, this is like wild initiate energy, right? And then wise interpreter, embodied wisdom. So freedom is meeting form. I think that what we're really seeing is the main theme today is sacred experimentation. When I look at this, like living boldly, taking action, being unafraid, releasing inhibitions and letting your insight deepen as a result of what you experience. So it's like a dance, right? Between intuition and understanding, breaking the rules versus understanding why they existed in the first place. So this, I think, is like this energy, this opportunity to really follow the mystery that you're experiencing today, like risking transformation, risking, send that message that you've been hesitant to send, reach out to that person, do the thing that you've been hesitating on doing. And whatever comes of it, you can trust that you're going to learn that revelation comes from experience, that chaos will, in fact, become clarity. That when we let our hearts lead us, when we let go of all the ideas of I can't, I shouldn't, all of that, we find a sacred order to our life. We see it in hindsight, right? It'd be nice if we could see it in advance. Ooh la la. That's what faith is for. Faith is, oh my gosh, it's so many cards. Okay. Faith is for the fact that we can't see it in advance. And then in hindsight, we understand the story. Okay, this is so many cards. All right, what do we have? Hierophant again. Oh, this is so many swords. This is so many swords. All right, Ace of Wands is like Shakti energy, big sexual energy, big originating energy, divine inspiration coming in. And here we have the Hierophant again. And this is once again like a non-traditional Hierophant energy. This is more embodying like that sacred Fool energy, that connection to the mysteries of the universe through going internal. So I'm really seeing again here this like sparking of divine inspiration, this connecting in with the sacred and with experimenting, with like letting something spark, letting something kick off. You don't have to be in control of all of it. You don't have to be in control because, that's a myth anyways. You're not in control of all of it, so you don't have to try and pretend. The Knight of Swords is a very fast action, like taking quick, decisive action. He's literally running toward his motorcycle, okay? This is the fastest knight in the deck, taking really quick action. Now we have Four of Swords, King of Swords, and the Fool again. Do you notice? We have the Fool and the Hierophant. We have the Hierophant and the Fool. This is kind of wild. And then we have all these swords, so much thinking, so much in our mind, right? So Hierophant first, and with this like spark of passion from the Ace of Wands, we're really getting again, this almost feels like just repeating what we had here, this Dionysus energy. And then moving into this, like, where are my thoughts taking me? Where are my actions taking me? Where is my clarity taking me? Am I moving too fast? There's that saying like act in haste, repent at leisure, or fools rush in, right? And we know that, like we have this sacred Fool energy, but also we have here the Four of Swords, which is about a rest, which is about stepping back. So it's really interesting that we have this dichotomy of like move forward and step back. And then evaluate your kingdom, King of Swords, from the top of the mountain, right? So I think it's allow yourself to make a decision, allow yourself to move into what is next for you, what this divine spark, what your heart is calling to you toward, what the sacred is saying. And also like have a pause and a reflect once you're getting the outcome from it. Not too long though, because here comes the Fool energy. Again, here comes the Fool. So it's, again, I think this is all 100%, like every single thing we're getting here is really coming back to this sacred experimentation. Listen to your heart. Listen to the divine. Let the divine speak to you through your heart, through the language of your soul. Let yourself survey your thoughts, your clarity, finding that wisdom that comes from the air element, that comes from how we think about things, from how we connect to that wisdom we've earned through lived experience. And then let yourself strike out. Let yourself not strike out like lose, but like strike out on a journey. Let yourself trust and surrender into the divine because it's going to be wonderful. Whatever you get from this, whatever choice is in front of you, whatever opportunity, whatever new thought form for this sacred experimentation, you can trust the universe. You can trust source. You can trust spirit that this is in your best and highest good. And let's get a Moonology card, our last message from Spirit today. And this says to attune to the divine, which is this, again, just confirmation. It's been this same message hitting over and over and over. You can trust the divine. You can attune to the divine. It doesn't come just from your mind, okay? That's why we start with the Ace of Wands. That's why Dionysus came first. Ace of Wands, Hierophant came first in our clarifiers. We start with our feelings. We start in our body. We start in our heart. And then we make sense of it. We tell a story about it through our mind, okay? We allow ourselves to pursue clarity. We pause. We reflect. We survey our domain. King of Swords again. We survey our domain. We get very clear on our thoughts. And then we jump. We leap. We take a divine leap of faith after that attunement, in that attunement, knowing that we're going to be caught, knowing that we're going to be held, that it is safe. Spirit supports those who take a leap into the unknowable void. So leap, friends. Today is the day. Jump in. Trust yourself. Trust your heart. Trust spirit. And see what magic unfolds. I hope this has been helpful for you. If any part of this resonated, please do drop a like, a comment, subscribe to the channel. That would be wonderful. It'll help my channel to grow and find new people that I can help. I so appreciate you being here, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.